The NFL draft is around the corner, and I'm doing a series where I'm going over every position in this draft and ranking my top 10. So far, I've done 6 videos on this. I've completed defense, and I'm starting on offense. I already went with interior offensive line. Now let's go outside to the tackles. And this is a pretty solid tackle class. I like a lot of the tackles here, but you could make an argument for a lot of them to be moved to guard. But short arms can work in certain situations if you're good enough. But I also have a surprise at the end of the video, so stick around to see what that is. Anyways, let's get into the grading scale. Now, I do like this tackle class, so there will be a lot of high grades here. However, we might get into some lower grades towards the end of the list. But let's go ahead and get right into the video. My number 1 tackle in this class is a pretty obvious one, Francis Mauigoa from Miami. This is a very solid all-around tackle. He's got ideal size, he's got good athleticism, and is both good at pass blocking and run blocking. So he should be able to be a plug-and-play guy in pretty much any scheme. Now, I wouldn't say he's necessarily the best at either run blocking or pass blocking, but I think he's rather consistent at both, that it shouldn't be a problem at either. His size, very good. He's got good height at 6'6", and has great weight at 323, and he carries it very well. Now, while his arm size isn't ideal, it's definitely playable at tackle. Some people have argued to move him at guard, but I think he should stick at tackle because I think that's where his skill set best fits. Plus, I said he has solid athleticism. Now, it's not superb by any means, and there are some tackles with much better athleticism than him, but I think it's a good overall profile that it should be able to work in any scheme. And overall, he's got great technical skills. He lands with a strong punch. His anchor is elite. You do not move him back at all. At no point in his film did I see him getting pushed back by any bull rush. The only times he was beat at all were speed rushes around the edges because, while he's a good athlete, his lateral agility is only good. It's nothing special, but it should hold up in most cases. But speed edges that get a clean get off around the edge can give him some trouble. But that was a rare occurrence, so I don't think that's going to be a frequent problem. And in terms of run blocking, he's excellent there as well. He carries a mean streak. He lays dudes out, and that's what you love to see from offensive linemen. So I do not think run blocking will be an issue for him, though it is a slightly worse than his pass blocking, but not by much. And he's shown pretty great technical growth over his career. Now, there's still room to grow, as with any rookie, but with how he's grown so far, I think he has the chance to become an even better player than he is right now, which is already a good player. Out of any tackle in this class, I think he has one of the highest floors and still a very good ceiling along that as well. So I think he should go high. Though he might not be the best tackle in recent memory, he's still a very good tackle. My number 2 tackle in this draft is a different flavor of tackle, Spencer Fanow from Utah. This guy's probably one of the most athletic tackles in this class. I mean, his combine was legitimately excellent. His testing numbers were elite, and you can really see it on film with how he moves. He moves incredibly fluidly. He has an explosive get off, and he moves basically like a tight end, and he's 3'11". Dude is massive and moves 100 pounds lighter. If you like athletic tackles, this is your guy because he can move anywhere very quickly, and his technical skills are very refined. Of a tackle that is his profile, that really surprised me. He's got great pass blocking ability, he's got great run blocking ability. Rarely did I see him getting beat in either part of the game, and he plays with intensity. He will try to lay dudes out whenever he can, and that was really fun to watch. Now, there are some serious limitations with him, which is why I rate him quite significantly lower than Mauigoa. While he is a good tackle and technically refined, I do believe his ceiling is a little bit lower than Mauigoa. His anchor is just simply not as strong. That comes with his size, and to be honest, adding more weight, I think, will worsen the good part of his game, so I don't think that's a strategy that teams should employ. However, that is something they should take note of and should use him differently. He's not going to be sitting there locking down the edge like Mauigoa will. You will have him moving around in space and should be an effective space blocker. However, his short arms are a serious concern and make you wonder if you should move him inside. Now, Will Campbell showed you can have a short arm tackle, but as he also showed, there are some downfalls to that. So how teams deploy Fan Out will be very interesting, but I think he should be a very reliable tackle and even a very good one at the next level. My number 3 tackle in this class is a very good one as well. Monroe Freeland from Georgia. If you want an athletic tackle with good size, this is your guy. And there's a reason why he's getting top 10 hype. It is rare for a player of his profile to come out. A guy with great size plus elite athleticism, that almost never comes around, and that's usually easily a first-round talent. And his pass protection is legitimately excellent. He rarely allowed any sort of pressure at Georgia, and his athleticism showed up regularly on tape. He has an explosive first step. He moves extremely well in space, and he lays dudes out when he can. And this was one of my favorite tackle tapes to watch. And his length is legitimately elite. Now, his arm length is really good, but his wingspan is even better. He's got 34-inch arms, but his wingspan is nearly 85 inches. That is a ridiculous wingspan, and that puts him in the 99th percentile of tackles. And he uses his length very well. However, the reason why I have him lower than the other two is that he's rather raw. While the other two are good tackles overall in both the pass and run game, Freeland's really good at the pass game. His run blocking is definitely lacking. It is incredibly raw. He misses his landmarks occasionally, and his leverage usage while run blocking is quite poor, and that really minimizes his power advantage. Plus, he tends to lunge a lot, which causes him to land on the ground a whole bunch when he's trying to run block, and that is pretty ugly to watch. But I do think these are issues that can easily be cleaned up, and if he can develop his run blocking, he can be an excellent tackle in the league. My number 4 tackle in this class is Caden Proctor from Alabama. If you want a big dude at tackle, this is your guy. I mean, he is 6'7", 352 pounds. And he does not move. His anchor is absolutely elite. If a pass rusher tries to bull rush him, the pass rusher is making up no ground. He's also got elite power, destroying dudes while run blocking. He will run dudes over. And he's got a very strong punch, visibly jolting linemen back. And that was really fun to watch. Plus, he's got a lot of experience. And like I said, he's very solid in both pass blocking and run blocking especially. But there are definitely things that are to be concerned. While he's got elite explosiveness and he has a great first step, his overall athleticism is kind of whatever. It's not terrible by any means, but it isn't great either. And his lateral agility is whatever as well. However, there's a very big exploit that edges can sometimes use. If they are a quicker edge and are able to force Proctor to one direction, the edge makes a move the other direction, it is very hard for Proctor to counter that edge, simply because he's got too much weight on him. And that is potentially a problem with him in the pros. Early on in the season, he was carrying 370, and it was very hard tape to watch. But once he slimmed down a little bit, it was a lot better, and his tape against Georgia was especially great. So if you can keep his weight down, he can be a great tackle, but conditioning can be an issue. And his pass blocking technique isn't great, especially with him being a 3-year vet. That's a little concerning, but we can still improve that. And his arms are disappointingly short for a guy his size, only 33-inch arms. That's a guy who at 6'4" you'd expect, not at 6'7", and his wingspan is rather short for a guy his size. So length is definitely not an advantage for a guy you would think it would be a great advantage. But I still think he is a rock solid tackle and can be a very good starter for a team. Now my number 5 tackle on this list is Caleb Tiernan from Northwestern. This guy is probably one of the best, if not the best, pass blocking tackles in this class. His tape was excellent. He's also got excellent size as well, 6'8", 323. He does not move against bull rushes. He's got an elite anchor, and his pass blocking technique is legitimately excellent. And he's also a very smart football player. He reads twists, stunts, any sort of pass rush games extremely well. He never let it get past him. And he takes very good angles on cutoff blocks. So this guy is very smart, excellent technician when it comes to pass blocking. And he's got an explosive first step. So athleticism, well, overall not great. His get off is not an issue, and he routinely beats linemen to the spot and usually gets his hands first. Plus, he's got lots of experience, so he's been developing his technique for a long time. However, there are some serious concerns to really consider. This is one guy you could really consider moving to guard. His arms are very short at 32 inches, and his wingspan is bottom percentile at 79 inches. For a guy that's 6'8", that's rather disappointing. And his hand size is also rather small, so his grip strength is limited. And his lateral agility is seriously hampered by his stiff hips, and he doesn't quite move that well in space. He is able to move through traffic rather well, but to be honest, this is more of a guard profile than a tackle profile. But I do believe his experience at tackle still makes him extremely valuable. And his run blocking isn't all that great either. It definitely trails behind his pass blocking. While I do think it's serviceable, it's far from elite. However, I do think he can be a dependable tackle at the next level and possibly a great guard at the next level. Hence why his grade is so high. My number 6 tackle in this draft is Austin Barber from Florida. This guy is definitely a run blocking tackle. It's by far his best part of the game. And when he's allowed to move in space, he looks great. He's a fluid mover, he's got an explosive get off, and his lateral mobility is very good. Plus, he's got good size as well, 6'7", 318, and respectable arm length. Now, it's not going to be eye-catching at 33-inch arms, but it's definitely playable at tackle and is more than enough for him. And when he gets his grip on you, you are not getting out of it. He's got a very strong grip. And like I said, he moves very well in space, and he can get to the second level very quickly. So if you put him in a zone-heavy offense that tells their offensive linemen to move around in space, he would excel at that. And his pass blocking is respectable. He's got solid technique and rarely gets beaten clean. However, I would like to talk about his pass blocking a little bit. Why I said he should be moving around in space a little bit more. When you ask him to anchor down, he doesn't do that all that great. His anchor is, I wouldn't say unreliable, but isn't great either. And his technique is not ideal in pass protection either. There's a lot to clean up, and he's definitely open to counter moves if a defensive end has counter moves, that is. So against the high-end pass rushers in the league, he may struggle a little bit. And his power is kind of disappointing for a guy his size. He definitely needs double teams to move people, but when he does a very good job at it. But do not expect this guy to block on an island. I think in the right scheme, he can be a very effective offensive lineman, but I would be very careful on how you deploy him. My number 7 tackle in this class is Caleb Lomu from Utah. This guy is uber athletic. Again, one of the most athletic tackles in this class. Utah definitely has a type at tackle, and his athleticism is off the charts. He's got good size too. Now, it's not ideal size, but it's plenty good enough at tackle. 6'6", 313, that is very good size. Now, his length is also respectable, 33-inch arms. He shows good technique in pass blocking. He's explosive out of his stance. His hand usage is very good. His hands have great timing, and when he latches on, he's got great grip strength. His footwork is very good. He's very strong on pull blocks, and his kick slide is also very nice to watch. And he processes twists, stunts, and any sort of pass rush games very well at the line and is rarely beat by them. And his lateral agility is something else to watch. I mean, the way he is able to redirect is a treat. However, I do rate him rather low because unlike the other tackles who have great anchors, most of them that is, he does not. Similar to the last guy, while I did rate him fairly high, I liked his upside in the run game. This guy, he's better at pass blocking, not great at run blocking, and his pass blocking upside isn't all that great because if you ask him to anchor down, he's not going to do that very well. And a lot of times I saw him on the ground missing blocks in the run game. And his power generation is rather limited. That may be due to his size, and he could definitely pack on like an extra 15 pounds, and maybe he'd be more effective. That is the reason why I'm still rating him fairly high, even though he's not my favorite prospect. I do see the vision with him. He's super athletic. If you can add a little bit more weight on him, maybe his pass blocking downsides can be lessened, and maybe you can teach him better run blocking technique. But right now, his run blocking is rather ugly, and his pass blocking upside, while he's a good technician, is limited at the moment. But with his upside, I'm still going to rate him fairly high. I do expect him to go in the first round, but I don't think the team that picks him in the first round is going to be super happy with him. I think he's more of a second round guy, but we'll see how it goes with him. My number 8 tackle in this class is Blake Miller from Clemson. This guy has massive upside. He's got great size, an excellent wingspan, and he is very athletic himself. He's not the most athletic tackle in this class, like we mentioned with some others, but he's very good in his own right. He's got an explosive first step. His overall athleticism is great, and he generates great power as well and has a solid anchor himself. He's got everything you could really want in a tackle, and his pass protection has improved overall throughout his career, especially in his last year. You could really see some good tape from him this season in pass protection. And like I said, he's got some great power. His initial punch generates some serious pop and really jolts linemen back. Plus, he's very durable. He's got 54 straight starts. That is very impressive for an offensive lineman. However, the reason why I did not rate him solid starter is because there's some reasonable flaws with his game. Overall, he's really raw. His footwork is extremely choppy. His overall technique and blocking is a problem. His run blocking is also a legitimate problem, and his pad level consistently rises, which sacrifices any leverage he might get and neutralizes his power advantage. Plus, in the run game, when he tries to generate power, even though he has the ability to do so, he just doesn't consistently generate push in the run game, which makes me worry about his upside there. But he has all the physical tools, so if you can put him with the right coach, I think he can develop into a great starter. But right now, as he is, I'm going to put him as rotational starter for now. But legitimately, I do think he can be a very good player if he can develop. My number 9 tackle is Markel Bell from Miami. This guy has one of the most freakish profiles in this draft. He is 6'9", 346 with 36-inch arms. He will never lose the reach battle against any defensive lineman. There are very few defensive linemen in the league with 36-inch arms, and this guy has them. And in pass protection, he is legitimately very good. He's got an excellent anchor, and he uses his reach advantage to great effect. Barely anybody is putting hands on his chest if he can reach out first. And his grip strength legitimately ends plays. Like, you are not moving if he gets his hands on you. The funny part about his hands is they're legitimately tiny. They are 9-inch hands. They are not much bigger than mine. And I am a foot shorter and half his weight. So it's a hilarious profile. In terms of athleticism, he's not great. He doesn't move all that great. His lateral mobility is an issue, and his foot speed is not great. He's more of a lumbering giant, to be honest. He's definitely more of an anchored down pass protector type tackle, and his run blocking, despite the power he has, he's not great at it, simply because his leverage is always a disadvantage. When he's that big, literally everybody has a leverage advantage on him. If he can get low enough, he generates some significant power, but it's hard for him to do that consistently. And counter moves are a problem for him, as he struggles with lateral mobility and struggles to really redirect his body. But I do believe he's such a good pass protector. He deserves some draft talk, and I think he can legitimately go on day 2, even though he's been a day 3 guy for most of the offseason. I think his profile is good enough to be like a round 3 type guy. You got to understand his limitations, but I think he can be a very solid offensive tackle if deployed correctly. Know his weaknesses and expose his strengths. That's how you use this guy. And my number 10 tackle in this class is Isaiah World from Oregon. This guy is a very interesting developmental tackle. He's got good overall size, 6'5", 323, good overall length with 34-inch arms, and his overall technique has improved throughout his career. He allowed minimal pressure in Oregon. He's got solid pass blocking technique. I do believe he's got good upside in run blocking, and he's got good overall athleticism. He's got good lateral mobility, decent speed, and he's got a good first step. He's got great understanding of angles and leverage, so I think he's got a very good floor compared to other tackles in this draft. And he's got great mental processing. He's able to pick up those stunts, those twists very well, and is very rarely beat by them. Now, when it comes to his run blocking, he's pretty inconsistent. He shows some good reps occasionally. Other times he loses the leverage battle, which I think he can easily win if he just uses better technique. Overall, I still think he's raw in his overall technique. His pass blocking, while solid, still has room to improve. His hands occasionally drift outside, which often leads to penalties, which he has a lot of those, which that's a general concern. And it also allows defenders to get into his chest, which can push him back a little bit. Now he's got a solid anchor. It's not nearly as good as some others on this list, but he's got a very solid anchor on his own. But overall, I do think he's got a good floor as a swing tackle, and I think he can develop into a starter. But the main problem with World is he's got a recent ACL injury. That kept him out of the combine and the pro day, so we can't really see any athletic testing. And to be honest, the numbers probably wouldn't have been that good coming off so recently with an injury. I think it's better off he didn't do it, but what I saw on tape was solid enough to make me think he can be a starter in the league. Now I put him down at rotational because I do think he has a good floor to be at least a swing tackle and maybe a solid, maybe not average starter, but I do think he can be a good spot starter. Now other tackles in this draft that I may have left off, like Demetrius Crownover or Max Eichentor, have greater overall profiles, but I do believe World has the better floor and is a solid shot late in the draft. But anyways, what do you guys think of my list? Do you think I should have included other tackles? Let me know in the comment section below. But if you enjoyed today's video, please leave a like and sub. It's greatly appreciated and lets me know you guys enjoy these videos. And she would love it if you liked the video as well. Anyways, bye!